Okay, hi. So, I was taking a while, but I'm here. Okay, I'll just share on Twitter that I'm streaming. And then we can get started. Okay, we're gonna continue. February 24th, 12:14 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 9. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand, the officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, partner. I'm just a man, same as you wandering the trails of civilization, occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Why not? You're a patrolman. With my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind. I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner, what do you mean? A desperado soul is as boundless as the desert islands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime in plain old English. Okay, day of the crime. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyways. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time to hit the trail. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines or with following orders. Everyone's got their weakness now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Okay, let me go do this. Aw, man. Okay, hold on. Okay, this is episode 5. Okay. Hold on, let me go down. If I remember right, it was a street side. Okay. Okay, so okay. Okay, hold on. Okay, I got the fingerprints. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd that is you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime, and yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene, or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, I pay my respects, that is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your bloodstained fingerprints were at this crime scene. The blood was wiped away, however. A luminal test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall, it seems to me there ain't a person in the room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the bloodstained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime. Okay, like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the bloodstained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint were completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, had nothing to do with it. The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life would be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something, I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. Press Marshall. Okay, hold on. Okay. That's because how did you put it, pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That's it. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's a locker I used when I was a detective, the locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. Marshall's fingerprints found on a bloody handprint on Marshall's own locker. The print has been wiped. Okay, how do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? The seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can say otherwise. Oh, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Okay, what do you mean by that? Do you want to tie me to this crime? Isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots, places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Okay, show evidence. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall. Okay. I have to pause in like a few seconds, I think. I'm just waiting for the right time. Oops. Okay, okay. Oh, I can fast forward. Alright, fast forward. Fast forwarding doesn't do anything. Fast forwarding doesn't do anything, but I kind of missed the spot. Okay, only a few more seconds left. I missed the first time. Oh wait, what the heck? It won't let me pause. Oh, now let me pause. Oh, no, okay, I wasn't pressed on the game. So it was confused. Okay, okay, okay. I got it this time. Okay. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you will soon not forget, Officer Marshall. My days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have said in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words, not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind to the video a bit. Oh, the white cloth, it's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order, order. It would seem that the story Hold Your Horses story, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a lock and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah, I call your bluff. You say I opened that locker, now prove it. Okay, evidence locker. Over here. Fingerprint sensor. We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? I only got 1 word for you, partner. No. Order, witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Then please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Olay, please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's right, Officer. That's all right, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. The Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? Okay, Alright, okay, present, yeah. Officer Marshall was standing right here. There, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. Maybe I point out though that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. The man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Oh, oops. I skipped over that. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins... Okay, wait. Something just popped up. Okay, Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. We're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving it, I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. Ah. This can't be happening. So obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics. For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise, but rather I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was open in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. No, he did despite the chance it might be discovered later as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then after the crime was committed, He opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. Very well, let's take another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness has opened the locker. Okay. Okay, pause is the backspace button. And then I just have to wait a few seconds. Few more seconds here. Oh wait, I can fast forward a little bit. I didn't realize there was a fast forward button until last time, but okay, we're getting there. Okay, we're gonna point to the blood. For some reason, you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know what to end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated you. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it. All right. Seems the time has come. Okay, Marshall's confession. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID, and just like him, I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. I managed to escape. I knew which areas would be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Okay. Okay, press. When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? SL9 incident. 2 years had passed since the case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transfer that day. Not if I had anything to do with it. The incident's not over, but what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why I... Okay, Oh wait, hold on. Okay, press. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I did make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security cameras, and the detective's ID card, I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. ID card I found was led there by Officer Marshall, so essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. No, you could, because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck on the floor. Or is it door or floor? I don't know what that was. That means Detective Goodman just must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins and knocked him out. You pulled a knife from Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off. Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person, mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about this raise this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way, with me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So you knocked Officer Meekins out and managed to escape. I knew. Okay, So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference though. The security tapes is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. Someone was in the security room when I came out. The jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is on that day, there wasn't any murder. Okay, But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is B and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker? Actually, no I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What, Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Far away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID and injuring a police officer, this is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine, and I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. Okay, present. Do we need to press first, or? I don't know. SL9 incident. Okay, wait, hold on. File. To look for the file. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been slipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man, Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award. Now I remember Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right, he was killed, and the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Grant, the then Deputy Chief of Police. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case is finally closed, at least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother could have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in the fight, and that's it. That's your reason for your insane actions. There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you tried to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happened by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's got to be more than just that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye. But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of this simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me the boys got the draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye, and the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. I rest my case. It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There is no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste any of my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent matter on the security camera's tape really was fake, but I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. Hold it. Your Honor. Wait. Emma, the defense has an objection, a scientific objection, right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian, Your Honor? Oh, in a sense. Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking for is a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. Now that she mentions it. The names of both Skye sisters were in that file, but that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day, so I knew his fingerprints had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing, the other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. But no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. So did you find something? No. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Oh boy. Time's up, nothing, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears that the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry. Oh, I skipped over that. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be. Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If ever I needed to concentrate, it is now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? I object.
Objection!
This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn out there? Yes, something that when drawn will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plans? Oops. Okay. Was it? What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force, defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? Gasp. That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker. What? So that means, just exactly what does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found at the locker. Okay, that went too fast. Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. Emma, on that afternoon. Let's see, any comments? Howdy, Nyaruko. Officer Meekins was the one who brought the badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in. Just one moment, I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time... Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posed as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in the evidence room. That's right, the blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well. Then tell us, When did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place? ID card record. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it, and in order to do so, the ID card would have been required. An ID card. Oh, the ID card record. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, it would be 4:40 p.m. Miles Edgeworth, just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that was physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 77777777. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 77777777. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 777777. That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card, at least at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 77777777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher, someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous. Just how? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. Wait, if an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yes. No, not to you, to her, the defendant's name over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course, we've looked up her ID number. And it's not 77777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. Vessel 9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat the question, Chief Prosecutor? I didn't find Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Lana, I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to. In order for him to get the verdict he deserved, or we deserved, I don't know. But Lana, even if it involved forging evidence. Oh, whoops. See, that's what I'm talking about. No. No. Oh, Officer Lana's remarks caused something. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. To be continued. Okay, so, didn't get to read all that, but it was noisy. Okay, no. February 24th, 3:12 p.m. Wright and Co. offices. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killing. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Dark to convicted so badly, that's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean what happened to you? It's all in there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you... Yes, I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. I didn't see that one coming. Okay, talk. SL9 incident. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrified man came bursting into the office, Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture after the incident. I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall, so you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why Lana, why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes. I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean, it's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true, even though he may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today. She must not have been able to face up what she did, especially not to Emma. Permanent picture. What did you see in the instant that crime occurred? Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. You've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago, you must have been 14. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I wanted to be able to fight crimes with my testimonies and find the evidence to make it an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick, but there's still something that bothers me about that crime. Something puzzling. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at the time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for question that day. Taken for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. Why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detectives' offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective, so she was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective. I better have another talk with her. Okay. Move to the detention center. February 24th, detention center visitors room. Lana, Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh, about how you were a detective 2 years ago and how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details specifically about that unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. Today's trial. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one. 2 years ago, evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. While all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said about you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I ever seen Lana look so fazed before. Detective Lana Skye. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Grant cracked together. Chief Grant, he was the deputy chief of the police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Diamond Grant, he was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really did idolize her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes so you could use that experience in court, right? Grant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to the resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. Dark investigation. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command, that means the investigation that lead was Damon Grant, right? Yes, Deputy Chief Grant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Greb, in whose case it was Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place, when he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. First one at the scene. Darren Grant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So we waited until Grant and Marshall let their guards down and fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Grant and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run into the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Grant and Marshall were questioning Dark. Oh, that doesn't look good. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim Emma who had passed out, and the suspect Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems that Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her after all her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident? That's right. Quite a coincidence. I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident just by chance. That case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall, yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Devin Grant and I shared. The office that Mr. Grant now occupies by himself, the chief office. Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder. Okay. Okay. Police department entrance. Okay, there's a lot to do here. Hold on, okay. Okay, it's still February 24th. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. I never thought things turned out the way when I woke up this morning. Hey, Sarah, you never know where life will lead you, Bambina. I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. But Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Dark trial. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's, alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question. The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there is a good chance the knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. The facts had been concealed with forged evidence. That case left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the Esselmite incident left behind. Prosecutor Marshall. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he? Your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the king of prosecutors. I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for your prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the Esselmine incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right, it was the day of the evidence transfer. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. Scars. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation save one was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Gant and Skye. The investigation lead Damon Gant and the second in command Lana Skye. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah. Damon Kent, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Lana's secret. It all started 2 years ago. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There is one thing for sure I found out in court today, that boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. Someone else was the one who gave him the evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you. When you become a real scientific investigator, adios, Bambina. Okay, move to chief office. February 24th, police station, criminal affairs department. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. It must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Well, he actually talked to us. The chief prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what to do. About Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media and tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator up the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. Chief's office. February 24th, Police Department, Chief's office. Whoa, where am I? In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what is said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bop. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. I never could remember where C was. Oh, it's you two, Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, Righto, have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can't appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement. Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since the incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? That picture of Lana, Neil, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it though. Gant team picture. Photo of the word ceremony of Gant, Lana, and Neil. Anyway, I like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh, but this office. It was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Looks like we aren't welcome. It seems that case isn't over with yet, after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied our request to search for the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Okay, to the criminal affairs department. February 24, police station, criminal affairs department. Okay, let me check. Comments. Hey pal, Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long. Actually, from serving everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe is still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No, why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battles between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. Okay, Edgeworth crisis. Well, why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye is the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, a prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor. Prosecutors kept him safe from those who didn't like him. But now with this, are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top, Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies. Hey, Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. It seems you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. That's so nice, isn't it? Actually, I took a look at those files earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seemed generally concerned for Mr. Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Dark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl? Me. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forgot. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never failed to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Dark crimes. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day, on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. So it was an accident? An accident, yes, but it transferred him into an animal. He killed a man that witnessed the accident, then he killed a lady who saw the second accident. A kid walked by just then, so... Okay, it's going way too fast. Okay, so finally he turned himself in. Seems like he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in, yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall, that crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Dark was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness. aka Emma. Okay, present switchblade knife to Gumshoe. Okay. About this. Hey, is that... It has a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day Detective Gumshoe was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. It was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. That's it. Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Well, what is it, Detective? Quick before you forget again. Murder weapon. This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at, plus it had his fingerprints on it too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well anyway, take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet, down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. Neil's autopsy report. Stabbed in the back, diaphragm, punctured heart and lung. A knife tip was in the wound. Switchblade knife. The broken tip was found in the victim's body, belonged to the murderer Joe Dark. Well, there you have it, in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? Oh, okay, it's not money, but... Okay, so he was asking if it was money. Okay, so it's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The chief's out now and his office is locked, but we'd like to have a look around if that's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. What? Really? But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh, sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died. Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office. I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind. Okay. Move. Police department entrance. And then move to the underground parking lot. February 24 prosecutor's office. Underground parking lot. No one's here today. Not even Miss Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down at the evidence room. That must be where the Detectives are. We proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 p.m. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case. Instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Move to High Prosecutor's Office. February 24th, High Prosecutor's Office, room 1202. I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet. Okay. There he is. It looks like he's writing something. Well, what are you doing here? He sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? I had to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me? Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. Let's see. Oh yeah, talk. Forged evidence. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to. Nothing I can do can erase that fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean, the evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error and my responsibility as the prosecutor in charge. The fact remains the same no matter what excuses I might have. Mr. Edgeworth, I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Tomorrow's trial. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First last year's trial and now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk on in the trial. Tomorrow is the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's why my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? The list of evidence, it seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists. That is odd. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect was guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time. Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time. That picture, something seemed strange about it. The day of the crime. Could you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered, you were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right? I've never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this? Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department. You finished up at the office? Yes. Just odds and ends, clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is until I was asked to take something back. Take something back? This. Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? Yes, it was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to? That's right. Okay. Present picture. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall, he just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Yes, the trophy Mr. Marshall is holding. It's a little different than yours. Yes, you're right. I remember now. Remember what? That was the official prosecutor's trophy looked. That's what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There was a story behind its design. A story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. Talk to Edgeworth. Okay, King of Prosecutors Trophy. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with two characters. The first means halberd and the next means shield. Have you heard this story? Oh, sure. Everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it, though, for Emma's sake? Very well. Long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day he presented the king with two items. The first was a halberd he claimed would slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. Those claims contradict each other. Very perceptive, but then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless. Thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born. Oh, I see, so the chip, shield, and broken knife symbolize... Precisely so, they symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words, but it's our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion. Even if it results in something as ugly as this. Wow, thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You had to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the word abolished. Chief Gant, King of Prosecutors Trophy. 2 years ago, the halberd was removed at Gant's behest, given its current form. Okay. Examine ball of paper. I wonder what he was writing before. Come on, Mr. Wright. Let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is standing right there. Just distract him. I'll check it out. Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective Gumshoe at the window there? Oh no, he's falling to the ground. Hold on, first let me see what this girl's doing crawling around my feet. He didn't even look. What? Letter of... You're having trouble reading it. I'll read it for you. It says letter of resignation. Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean I'm tired, right? I feel as if something inside me has died. But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault. I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh. I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation, I wonder if I can use it for anything. Letter of resignation, Edgeworth discarded letter of resignation. He's serious. Okay, move to the underground parking lot. February 24, Prosecutor's Office underground parking lot. Excuse me. Would either of you care for a quarter-pound of roast beef? Hey Star, I guess she's out of lunches. You certainly are the curious sort, are you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow nipple to discover milk. Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago. Everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day evidence from the case was due to transfer. This can be attributed to mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know that little scene I happened to witness? Instant Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. Miss Star's hatred toward Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago. Okay, talk to Angel. Dark investigation. Joe Dark. That's a name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though, must have been going through hell. You mean because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Lana Skye. My sister? The best of the best were put on the Esselman case. Of course, they were led by the legendary duo, Lana and Chief Gant. After case closed. That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep our investigation. That's why we were shocked over how it turned out. You mean with the forging of the evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear while other items were kept secret. But you don't have proof anything illegal was done. I'm proof enough of what happened. After the case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties. Most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She was being used? Legendary duo. Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Gant led the investigation with Lana second in command. They were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal. His magnetism, by that I mean his ability to attract evidence. He produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled. Incredible evidence? You mean... Oh yes, there were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him though. I take it she's talking about forged evidence. Back then everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Really? Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked and always watched out for other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Okay. Mr. Marshall. When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would have recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Starr. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? Being used. Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief. That's right. Having solved the Esselman case, his position as chief was secured. There's only one thing left for him to control, and that no one could stand in his way. The prosecutor's office. What? You mean... That's why Lana was transferred. If he could control the chief prosecutor, he could control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her to change. At last, I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Miss Starr. You listen to me, rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create a fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. Okay, let's see. Move to the criminal affairs department. Okay. February 24th, Police Station Criminal Affairs Department. Oh, you're back. You're still here? I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ. You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, I think he means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ. I gotta marry your persistency, but my answer is still no. I'm not like you in the chief's office, period. It'd be my neck on the line. Office is the last crime scene in the SO9 incident. I have to take a look in there. There's gotta be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Present letter of resignation. What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way, Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious. Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice too, but I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence, but we betrayed him. Detective. That's it. I made up my mind. But here, take my ID card. You can't do that. If someone found out, they wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated. What? So at least let me do this for Mr. Edgeworth's sake. Alright, detective. Thank you. Gumshoe ID. A police department ID card allows access to areas of the PD open to detectives. Okay, go to Chief's office. February 24th, Police Department, Chief's office. Here goes Mr. Wright. Click. Beep. We're in. If anyone finds us now, Detective Gumshoe's a goner. If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. Eek. Gah. Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I didn't even know you could stop a ghost. Ah. Detective Gumshoe, what are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried something might go wrong, so I came too. If you're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID card? Gumshoe's ID crushed and rendered unusable in pocket. Hey, don't do that to my card. I hardly ever get a chance to come in here, so I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together. Now, you really do want to get fired, don't you? Not if we're lucky. Now come on, let's see what we can find out. I've got a bad feeling about this. Okay, talk. The chief's office. That desk on the other side of the room. Was that your sister's? Yes, that's where I was waiting for Lana on that day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now? No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gant's office now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene. That's a strange reason to leave it there. He leaves it as a warning to everyone. He wants us to always be alert. He told us to himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time. I see. So ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk. No one except Chief Gant and the cleaning lady who's in here each morning. Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly be any clues remaining. Chief Gant. Can I ask you something? Sure. You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SO9 crime scenes. I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it? Why do you ask? You don't think... Nah, you wouldn't be... No. There's no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Okay, now then let's look around a little bit more. Hey, hold on. Not so fast, buddy. Huh? What is it? When someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to start bothering you, pal. Don't just let it go like that. So sorry, this guy's gonna get on my nerves. Okay, so what's bothering you? You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you? What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do you think of him? Chief Gant. So it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings yet. There you go, ignoring me again. Okay. Examine the safe. This is a safe, isn't it? Safe. That word is ripe with intrigue. Okay, if you say so. It looks like a code needs to be entered in this panel to open it. Okay, let me enter his input number. Do you know what it is? I have a hunch. Oh, I know. If you want to try my birth date, it's I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. Code confirmed. Access granted. Bingo. What number did you enter? Whose birthday was that, pal? 7777777. The final ID card number on that record. What? The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. You mean 777777. That ID number? I think you're 17 shy this time. This can only mean one thing. That's Chief Grant's ID number. Say, anyone care to look inside? Okay, examine the safe again. Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away? Look, it's a shard from a broken cup. This somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen this before? There's something else in here too. What's this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth. This is a handprint, isn't it? Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. You think the chief made up the design? I don't think so. Oh, well, it was just a thought. Is that it? That's all that was in the safe? Apparently so. It's empty now. A piece of cloth with a handprint on it. And a broken shard from a cup. They look like pieces of evidence. Yeah, but unless you can prove they have something to do with this case, I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here. Great, now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. How are these two items related to the SL9 incident? Come on, there's got to be something you can show the detective. Presents the jar. Detective Gumshoe, could you have another look at this jar? Remember when the three of us put that back together? Ah, those were the days. It's kind of early to be nostalgic. Wasn't this jar a piece of the evidence from that case? That's right, one of the shards had an SL9 incident sticker on it. Doesn't this ring any bells? You know, that fragment we just found? You mean this one that was in the safe? Yes, that one. That was in the safe. Now that you mention it, it is ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Assemble the fragments. Here, let me see that shard. I'll take a crack at this. Go ahead, pal. Show us what a rookie can do. Mr. Wright, here's some glue. If I can piece this together again, it'll prove Chief Grant was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. Okay. Is it combined? There, it fits like a charm. That, of course, means Chief Grant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of evidence in this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident, but... Hey guys, get a load of this. What is it? This piece you just attached. It's different from the others. There's a reddish line on it. A reddish line? That's blood. I don't get it. Why would Chief Grant hide this in his safe? Unstable jar updated. Evidence of the SL9 incident. Final fragment found in Chief Grant's safe. Blood traces. Okay, present fingerprinting set to Gumshoe. Oops. Okay. Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to have a look at this. Hey, I know what that is. So you want to take some fingerprints? That's a great idea, Detective. Alright, go to town. Sheesh. What are you doing? Why are you sticking your hand like that? Go ahead, take my fingerprints. It's not your fingerprints we want to take, huh? Come on, this isn't the time for jokes. We're talking about the cloth we found in the safe. Oh, heh. I knew that. The one with the handprint on it, right? Sheesh, where's your sense of humor? Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check for prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth. And once they've been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest away. What are you, my mom? I don't have to be told a million times. Alright, let's get this over with. Okay, enter. Okay, let's see if this works. Um, I have no idea how long this will take. Let's see. Okay, okay, yeah, this one looks similar. Okay, compare. Match found. No, how can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here? Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints are they, huh? Oh, it seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match. Oh, that's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's prints. Psst, hey you, over here. What's going on here? What are that kid's prints doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now. Here, maybe you should hold on to this. Piece of cloth found in Chief Gant's safe. Evidence for something, but what? Bears Emma's guy's prints. Okay, examine Gant's desk. Wow, look at the size of Chief Gant's desk. Speaking of that, when we were here earlier... Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. I wonder what he was reading. This looks like a list of evidence. A list of evidence? In most cases, the list runs twice as long as this, though. Look at the case name. SL9 incident? I wonder what this is doing here. Hold on, detective. What did you say? I said I wonder what... No, about evidence list. Normally they're twice as long. That's right. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence. A half-sized list of evidence. A list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. What would the other half of the list be doing here? I knew it. The chief must be hiding something about that case. It would appear so. What is this? A list of evidence found in the SL9 incident was ripped in half, so this part is all I've got. Well, was I any help? Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. Now that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Is that right? Isn't that right? Isn't... Oh, shoot. Isn't that right, you in the coat? Eek! Chief Gant. We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out a window and saw a stray dog run into a pole. Just then I thought of a certain detective. Do you mean me, sir? Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. Yes, sir. Sorry. Are you in the coat? Me, sir? Drop off your ID on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore. But, sir... Now get out. Oh, yes, sir. We'll be on our way too then. Wait, you... The one without the spike hair. Don't go yet. Me, sir? I'd like a word with you. But, sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet. You with the spike hair, you're free to go. Mr. Wright. Look, pal, if I told you once, I told you 1,000 times. The chief office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you? I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired. Yeah, but if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it. Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gant was hiding in this office, I think I'm finally starting to get a picture. Why has she kept eerily silent about this the whole time? Anyway, you listening to me? I'm gonna try to smooth things over with Chief again later, pal. After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions, but she'll be busy for the rest of the day. February 24th, Detention Center, Visitors Room. I see, so the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. There's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. I've already told you all I can. What you told me over these past couple of days is absolutely nothing, not a single useful thing. Really, I believe I did mention something quite important, something I told you right at the beginning. I said I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. You know, I think I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. Mia did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth was right. Edgeworth. Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term he used, I believe. Now's my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story. Talk to Lana. Okay, keep it quiet. I have to admit I was more... I'm hungry. I have to admit I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth, it's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual. What an intriguing notion. A certain individual, you say? So you think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? What I think you're afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, who may I ask is this person you're speaking of, the one I'm supposedly so frightened of? What is this person's name? Okay. Take that! Oh, Miss Skye. Mr. Wright, you are addressing the chief prosecutor. Do not forget your place. I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans. My apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about what you think you know? We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective. Assuming he is respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes? His crimes? Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these are serious offenses. Why is it though that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Chief Gant, Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was me. I had access because I was second in command for that investigation issue, but also one other, Damon Grant. If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you will need more than just 2 words. Show me proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence. Okay. Take that! I just found this in a safe in the chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? They are pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Grant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you summarized. I cannot disobey the chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty for murder. Why not? Come on now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago. I had no choice but to cooperate in the murder of Detective Goodman. Or perhaps I should say follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate. Orders. Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day. I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You will find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. Just as I suspected. Despite what everyone believes, you were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman, correct? I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body. The murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. The knife from SL9 incident serial killer Joe Dark's knife. I can just leave that knife in him, so I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. That knife would be Edgeworth's knife. That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were still shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand, and that's the reason for the bandage on your right hand. Yes, since that I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. And then she saw me just as I plunged the knife in. Miss Starr, huh? Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly? Dark's knife. It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want to be opened again. Oh, my intent was to prevent that by whatever means possible. So you hid Dark's knife. The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with that. So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it. In Edgeworth's exhaust pipe. Right. Then I called my sister. I told her what happened and asked her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma? I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. That would explain why Emma is so confident about Lana's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. A bad feeling? The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall. To Marshall, what on earth would you call him? The lead investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden and I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust, or at least I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own. Oh, you mean, not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands. He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. I'd already stolen the ID card, but it seems he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After the phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room? I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lana, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow's trial. There's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. And what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago. To be continued. February 25th, 9:47 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. This is the defendant lobby's alright, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma for that matter? It's almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Edgeworth, knowing you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the S7777777 ID number is, that is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding the ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes right, and the chief prosecutor, Sky, will be found guilty, but she didn't do it. I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth? Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, right? This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. February 25th, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 9. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally this is when the prosecution puts forth his opening statement, but before that the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, Edgy. Been back to the pool yet? I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say, the defendant has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. What is this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No, Lana.
Objection!
You can't. Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services, but Lana. Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me. As sufficiently proven in this case through testimony and circumstantial evidence, I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there is no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant...
Objection!
One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come on now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Reading another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have be me. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh, to whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue. I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of the truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy, you'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Okay, I'm gonna delete these comments. Okay, Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by its reins. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation, I'm Lana's little sister and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the matter of Detective Goodman. An incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. You sure gave in fast. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in an instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. It's a good thing you weren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much. That's understandable. However, please tell Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well, the defense may bring in its cross-examination. 2 years ago. Okay, press OK. Okay. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark just then. The lights went out. It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out? Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then lightning flashed outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. Hear more. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw? Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. A picture. Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? Ask about the picture. This picture the witness drew, I believe it has a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. I drew a picture of that scene once the scene. Okay, present evidence list. Objection! Mr. Edgeworth. This little girl put all her heart into a drawing into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying the existence, huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold, this is evidence of the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over. What is this? Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew. Indeed, two men appear to be resting there. Here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list, huh? These lists. They're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago were incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one, where you can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you think Mr. Edgeworth is quite obvious. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What? Order, order. But Miss Sky, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor, are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask? Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing. That thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of Sir Chief of Detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Evidence list was stored and updated in the court record. This evidence in the SL9 incident have the list was found at Gann's desk. Very well, witness. Will you please testify about the picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking... Oh, oops. Okay, Emma's picture. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright all I could see were shadows. After that I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in an instant. To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Okay. Let's see. Present autopsy report. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it was like yesterday. Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of the picture contradicts the autopsy report? Choose the tip of the weapon. Take that! The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright, but Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. The victim was only stabbed once, and the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah, what's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it could possibly wind up there. That's right, but what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Inconsistency. Whoa. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already? But a little something called falsified evidence. You're treading on thin ice. You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ah. Order. Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted, Your Honor? Please allow me to once again go over the events that took place on the day of the murder. Police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King and Prosecutor's Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Grant. During the questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's, could there have been one? There is another one. If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by simple observational error. Mr. Wright. In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume then... Oh. Okay, I was sorry, I was staring. Whoops, okay, I lost my place. Okay. That you have some information about this other broken knife, so please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. The answer lies in this past. In the past, 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture, there's a picture of the award ceremony. Ah. What is that, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the word Prosecutor Marshall is holding. That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award. Order. Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shielded knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out his knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. Yet that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Okay, hold on. Because if the King of Prosecutors' award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. Oh. But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait, I remember now. I remember everything. Witness, Mr. Edgeworth. What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back? I knew it. This picture... I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. All this time I've been trying too hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix-up, and now the blue badger. This should be interesting. Emma's recollection. Okay. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed toward both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. This is certainly most unusual.
Objection!
Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Stop, please, don't pursue this any further. Lana, what's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this. I already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it all at that? Chief Prosecutor Skye. We've already come to this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence. The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. It seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Emma's recollection. Okay, let's see. Present unstable jar.
Objection!
The mysterious blue badger was in fact this. But that's... or what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint. I've got to show them the correct angle to look at this angle from. Okay. I have to rotate it. Okay. Sorry, I'm bad at rotating stuff. Like this? I don't know.
Take that!
This isn't right. I've got to make it more like the badger.
Objection!
Okay. It wasn't like that. Okay. Is it upside down like this.
Take that! Objection!
It's not like that.
Take that! Objection!
Okay. I thought it was upside down. Wait, is it like this?
Take that! Objection!
Okay. Okay, I'm so bad at this. Okay, hold on. Let me see here. Let's see. Okay, let me look. Okay, I think I see now. Okay, hold on. It's a Q and R. And then I think N is like down.
Take that! Objection!
Oh no, it's not right again. Okay, let me see. Let's see. It has it showing. Yeah, it looks like that. Maybe. No. Oh wait, okay, it's a little bit more up. Okay. And then down. But this one looks a bit more up. Oh my god, I'm stuck on this one part. Oh, let me see. Oh, okay, okay, I see. Hold on. Okay, so I think it's supposed to be like this. And then... Oh wait, hold on. Let me try again.
Take that! Objection!
Okay, so it looks like this in the beginning. And then just turn it. Like this. And then I turn it down. And I think this is more in the middle. Oops.
Take that!
Uh,
Objection!
okay, oh my god, this is taking a long time. Okay. Okay, then it goes down. I think it goes down like this.
Take that!
What the heck? I did it right. Let me see this. Okay, okay, I think. It looks like this, right?
Take that!
Oh,
Objection!
that's so confusing. Okay, apparently this is the hardest puzzle. It's like at the center of the square. Okay, I'll try again. Like here? No, that's not right. It's like right here.
Take that!
Oh my god, it's not right again. I'm looking at these comments. Yeah, it says I need to line it up. But I keep lining it up and it's not working. Okay, hold on. I'll figure this out. Oh, wait. Let me see. I'm looking up how to do this. Let me see. Let me see. Sorry, I just keep looking at this. Maybe it's like this? I don't know.
Take that!
Ah, no, that's wrong again. Let's see. Yeah, I'm looking on YouTube for like the solution and it's not doing good. Let's see. Sorry, I'm still looking at these comments. Yeah, everyone's saying it's a pain. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna try again. I think the problem is it has to be straight. Like, is this good?
Take that! Objection!
Oh, it's not right again. says to line it up with the squares. Maybe this is it?
Take that!
Oh my god, that's not right. Okay, let me watch the video more carefully. Okay, I'm gonna move it like that. Oh wait. That's too far. Okay, it's like this, and then what's going on? And then they like... Sorry, the video goes like too fast. Oops, that's the wrong way. Okay. Um... Sorry, I'm just zooming in. Has to be lined up with the squares. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing right now. Okay, let's just try again.
Objection!
There's no picture. Hold on. I'll just look on my computer. Sorry, I misspelled some stuff. Okay, hold on. Okay, let me see. There's like a picture of it. Okay, I'm trying to do this again. Oh wait. think I'm gonna try again. Oh, I got it right. I got it right. Okay. Well, this is a miracle. Is this a miracle or what? I got it right. Holy crap. No one can possibly deny this jar resemblance of the blue badger. No, it can't be. Order, order. The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that badger thing was actually just a joke. That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Indeed. Very well then. Please tell us. What's different? What's different now that we know the witness saw the jar? The location. Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar at a very specific angle on Mad at Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on the shelf of the office of Damon Jones. But the body was lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified to himself. Yes, and in these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room in Chief Gant's office. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife, and the next instant the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have to have been the impact the man made when he knocked it into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, I might draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? Ah, a suit of armor holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes, there is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless. I don't know if I can go through with this. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? Oh, did that say matter? I don't know. If events took place that the defense theorizes the outcome is obvious in that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually prosecutor Neil Marshall. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this, so it was the witness who took the victim's life and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Sky, but given the circumstances, Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How do you try to pin the crime on her? I imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did recently. I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes. It's certainly... Oops. If we don't have evidence, we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. You certainly can't get dead people to testify. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touche, Miss Skye. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. I mean, there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life. In one manner or another, that's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only okay. That's too fast. Is it like the possibility was left to him? A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? I'm going to think back to the court record. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind is the evidence. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Skye. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek: the truth. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased.
Take that!
The message... This is the message that by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right? Who is going to just speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgotten this. This is just a jar. Message was left here. On the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. Looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice. For some reason, the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there is a line here, drawn in blood. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used a few precious moments of them to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away, but blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points. The victim's message will become apparent. No. Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal us the answer. We have got to connect these dots to make the letters. There's only one thing the victim would have been given the circumstances. The murderer's name. I don't... Okay, I'm not sure what to do here, so I'm just gonna, let's see. Oh, wait. Let me look. Oh, okay. Okay, wait, hold on. I got this.
Take that!
It's a defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Sky. Seaworthy can't say I didn't warn you. Chief Grant, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in this case. Were you not? Ack. Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. No, not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. Crap. But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know we aren't defenders of justice? What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter, even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. What's going on at the prosecutor's office? He might have sent an innocent man to his death. How can he just stand there like that if it wasn't his fault? Order, 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 order. The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. No, okay. Let's see if I can finish this really fast. February 25th, 1206, District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lana's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law. Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Wright? Seems so. You could at least study some evidence law, really. The chief prosecutor also wanted to give you a message. A message. She said if you're planning to take him on, you're going to need this book. Him. I guess I'll need to give this book to a thorough read. Miss Law from Miss Sky explains the 2 rules of evidence law. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. That's all that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's what you're wrong. That's where you're wrong, detective, huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat? Despite all these allegations being thrown at me, Mr. Edgeworth. The real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Sky found out she unwittingly caused a man's death. And now you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? And we're going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. February 25th, 1252, District Court, Courtroom number 9. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Mr. Edgeworth, yes, Your Honor. The Query Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, Normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness, but, cough, cough. This isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses. I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and... Very well, Your Honor, I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. Well, but there's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. And it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness, Mr. Wright. You do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, the trial is as good as over. The defense calls. The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. Yeah.
Take that!
The Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything? As a defense partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. Hold on, you guys. Okay, sorry, I'm back. Okay, it says, I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should be still in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. Alright, bailiff, please escort Mr. Grant to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy. Are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Hi, my name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests you hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Nana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You're aware, of course, that chief police has all kinds of weapons in his disposal. Weapons? Sure, take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries it with a certain risks. No worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I did warn you. Very well, the witness may now begin his testimony. SL9 incident. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outrage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, it had nothing to do with the forgery. Is that when Dark was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see everything seems pretty clear-cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. Present the jar.
Objection!
You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery, but I'm afraid this is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar for example. That's the blue badger you were showing us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the legal investigation. Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this? Ho, here's a defense attorney who may have even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then that you were involved in the forgery? Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Ryder? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy, not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence you found in your office and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My, kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Evidence and forgery. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright, yes, Your Honor, when investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Oh, indeed, I believe I will press charges so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. All right, Udgy. In return, though, I know. That place, right? Huh? What are these guys telepathic? Okay, press. Really, Chief Gant, at the very least, there is one very large benefit you read from all this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would, of course, be the position you have. Chief of Police. Oh, the resolution of SL9 incident and secured your promotion as chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, that's a good one, huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 really sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. Gah. Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There it is, out in the open now. Udgy, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. Okay, I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Ho, 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 ho. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out, point out a compass? True, you might not help anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Very well then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped to forge evidence? Okay.
Take that!
Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky, the defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Sky fell victim to an unfortunate series of events who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana. And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the S-Online incident was resolved, Lana Sky was appointed Chief Prosecutor of the Prosecutor's Office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all this? He would be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority all over investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh wait, you must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Sky in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as Chief Prosecutor so you could control her. Righto, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident, which one would that be? Of course, I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The Chief Prosecutor had been acting strange throughout this entire trial, almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is not making Lana take the rep to cover up. He said what, and then, yeah. It goes so fast. Order, I said order. Mr. Wright, you can't be serious, huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's impossible. Oh. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language. Whoops. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright, that the chief of police, that the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. Question is he a criminal? I can't believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good. Show us the evidence that that ties Chief Gant to the murder. Let's see. There's an ID card. Oh, whoops. Oh, ID card record. Okay. Oops.
Take that!
This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list. We couldn't determine the order of yesterday. 777777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. If it's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open a 7-digit code. 7 digits. You don't mean... I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 777777. The same as the remaining ID card number on the list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Order. Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense search of my office was in violation of regulation, and I would demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it is the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can't go anywhere I want. I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when did you enter the room? Were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant? I'm afraid you have just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Okay. Oops. Goodman's lost item report. Detective Goodman's lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have to give that report to the chief of police, yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. Needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the room to you, Chief Gant, then? You accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on, let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait, the chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card, yes. Now that you mention it, I believe... Oops. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once, yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. No. Oh, wow. Chief Gant, you didn't. The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting Mr. Wright. That the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey, you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need. To prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office, and all this time I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What's that? A screwdriver? But what does that have to do with this case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is the screwdriver doing here? It's here because... I was asked to go by Chief Grant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office, but you did. Because Chief Grant asked you to. You mean the body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes. Unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transfer evidence from a closed case? There's only one possible explanation, to transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. Order. What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed into the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It is the photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe... Your time's up. My time's up. Sorry, Merido, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We got to get going if we're to make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That's not... Oh, whoops. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? If you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get over with. Get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Dammit, Grant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright, Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of the body? Do I have any concrete proof? I have no proof yet. It's no use showing evidence if I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor, at present, I have no conclusive evidence. See, edgy. And in that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegation against the chief. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can afford to lose, Rido. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Edgy, I'll leave the rest to you. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. What? Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edward, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. I haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth, another witness. In absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else, one more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial, someone right in this very room. Mr. Edwards, who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? You may not be willing to tell the truth. We can't just stop now. Your Honor, the defense calls forth, Lana. The defendant is Lana Skye. She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task to dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now. Hold on. Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. This isn't good. Of course, you never support such outrageous claims anyways, right? Just something to think about. Alright then. I've got a lunch date to meet. Okay, this court is now in recess. Oops. February 25th, 2:04 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. Okay. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief. He's something else, huh, pals? Detective Gumshoe. Ha ha ha, I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry, I've already decided where to work now. At your office. My office, sure. I'll take the place of that top, not a girl you used to work with. Could he mean Maya? Still looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief can't stun it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair. He has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, right? Remember what the judge said? But Chief, that's not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Risks. What does he mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Emma, are you okay? Yeah. When I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery, so she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time my sister was being blackmailed by the terrible man, and she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone knew her. She said everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean to follow Chief Gant's orders? She must have shut herself up deep inside to force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gant must be able to fool everyone else with this forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into the armor. I see. Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait? No, I'm going in with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, right? It's time to end this. To be continued. Okay, I'm running out of time, so I think I'm gonna end here and possibly stream again, or maybe I'll make a video, but okay, but thank you for coming to my stream. I hope you all have a nice day. Bye. Let's see. Oh wait. Okay, bye guys.